So we look ahead then to round 3 of the Dominic Smith Electrical Senior Football Championship, and the first game is between St Martin's and Glynn Barntown. This will decide who tops Group A. Noel, what way do you see it going?
Two very good teams, local derby, so form and all that will goes out the window on this one, and this is local bragging rights. I'd give the slight nod to St Martin's, but very close game in prospect in that one.
Shane, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've seen both of them now the last 2 weeks, and I suppose the impact from the bench and the panel, I'd go with St Martin's. Now, Glynn they're going very well. John Lacey's very strong. Kevin O'Mahony in the middle of the field. Aaron Breen, Shane Wilde. So it will be close, but I do think when it comes down to it, I suppose the impact coming from the bench, I'd go with St Martin's.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think St Martin's turned on the style for about 10 minutes and beat the Sarsfields. I think if they turn it on for a little bit more than 10, they might win against Glynn Barntown as well. And the other game in that group is between Horsewood and the Sarsfields, and the loser of this will finish bottom of the group and into the dreaded relegation series. Who do you think will win this one, Noel?
I think the Sarsfields have probably shown a little bit more. They've been very close in both of their games. I know Horsewood were missing players the first day, had them back now at the weekend there, but they didn't seem to get the kick on I thought they would get from. But I'm going to give a slight nod to Sarsfields. They seem to be, they have a crew lads that have been together there all summer long, and I think they're due a win now. They seem to be going well.
Shane?
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. I suppose Horsewood with PJ and Jamie Myler, Sean Nolan, you know that they have the firepower, but from what I've seen, the collective Sarsfields, they've been going very well, and Paul McLaughlin has him extremely fit, well organised, and it will go down to the wire, and I would give a slight nod to Sarsfields and what I've seen.
And I'm actually going to go against the two lads. I'm going to go for Horsewood to pull one out of the fire. Of course, if it's a draw, it'll be the Sarsfields who finish ahead of Horsewood, so that'll have to be borne in mind as well. The next game then would be between Fethard and Gusron. Noel, how high do you see that one going?
Well, you have another local derby here in this one, and Gustron have a lot of very strong forwards, a lot of good lads playing with the county team there this year. You have Fedor then as well, who have some very good forwards as well on their day, and form goes out the window again in that one. That's all about local derby bragging rights of that. Just think maybe Gustron might be slightly going better. I'd say Fedor didn't, they're relegating in the hurling as well. It kind of, whether it affects him or not, maybe it does. But if Gustron, I think Gustron just might maybe slightly too much for them, I think.
Shane?
I'll go with Gusron for that game. Even though yesterday John Tubritt, Brian Power and Mikey Dwyer up front, they can cause an awful lot of trouble, but last week it was down to the wire between Shells and Gusron. It was a great game in Timon, and I think with Mark Rossiter, Minnie Ryan, Gavin Sheehan, and some of the other players involved, I think I'd give the nod to Gusron.
And again, I'm going to go against the two lads. I'm going to go with Fethard. They missed a lot of chances against the Shelmaliers. Now, I know the Shelmaliers missed a lot of chances as well, but if Fethard can tighten up at the back, I think they'll have a good chance of winning the game. We also have St James will play St Anne's next week, Noel.
Yeah, well, I mean, St James were very good today for 40-45 minutes here, and then obviously two players being sent off at a critical stage in the game. I thought maybe Starlights were just maybe starting to get back into it, even though they were down to 14 themselves at the time. And St James could be without Kevin O'Grady and the other two lads next week. Obviously we don't know what happened there, and whether there's video evidence or whatever, but the St Anne's were very close here the last day with Starlights as well. A very tough group of three good teams that are all in the one group. If the three lads are going to be missing for St James, I think St Anne's would probably be favourites, but I'm not going to go against my own team, so I'm going to say St James are going to win that game.
And Shane, we'll get a neutral view.
Yeah, I think I saw St Anne's here last week, and very well organised. I know they got 3-6, but I still think with what looks like probably a serious enough injury for Kevin O'Grady, Graham Malloy suspended, and probably Tommy Oil suspended as well, I reckon St Anne's will have that battle.
I was very impressed with St James here today. A 9-point victory makes it look like it was easy for the Starlights, but it was far from easy. I'm actually going to go with St James. I was very impressed with them. And the final game then is going to be between Kilanerin and Halfway House Bunclody. So Shane, your thoughts first this time.
Yeah, very impressed last night with Bunclody. I just probably my concern for that game is maybe just the scoring power, and Castletown and Kilanerin was a local derby last week. So that's going to be a tight one, and I probably will go with Kilanerin, I think, for that one. I just think the running power of Paddy Hughes, Niall Hughes coming from the middle of the field, and Sean Ford up front, I think. And it also will depend on Bunclody coming. Probably thought they had won last night on the very last second, but I think Kilanerin, but I think it'll be very, very tight.
And Noel?
Yeah, I think I'll go the opposite way this time. I think from what Bunclody showed last night, and I know a team that's managed by Pat Rowe are going to be very, very well organised and going to be very, very fit, and they have some very good footballers up there. Kilanerin last week, they had a chance to kick on at some stage in that game against Castleton, didn't do it. Going to be a very close game, but I'm going to slightly give this one to Bunclody.
I was very impressed with Bunclody last night as well, and they will be sick, but if they can respond well to it, I think they can win next week, and I'm going to tip them.